Let me put my usual comments. Hey, Neat. Hi, daughter. I gotta type something. I'm typing in my information here. Y'all give me a minute. Trauma to Triumph. Hey, everybody. Hang on. CASHAPP Trauma2Triumph. Okay. I love you too, Jasmine. I miss you. Shawnee. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. Listen. Hey, Maud. Listen, y'all. I'm excited for another episode of Trauma to Triumph Tuesdays. Tonight's guest is an amazing woman. But before I get to tonight's guest, I want to share with you all why we're even doing this. Trauma to Triumph, for those of you who don't know, I'm Terry Long, CEO of Trauma to Triumph. Yes, I'm the girl power behind something truly amazing being developed. Trauma to Triumph is a platform where we come together and we share our real life, gritty, true stories about life trauma. Things that we've all gone through, different things that we've all gone through, traumatic life things. And guess what? We survived. And we're living it out triumphantly. So that's what this project is about. Trauma to Triumph. We are going to heal the lives of millions. Y'all heard me. We're going to heal millions of people through the sharing of our powerful stories. Hey there, Lboogie. I'm going to bring you in about 2 more minutes. Y'all heard what I said? We're going to heal millions of people through the sharing of our traumatic stories of how we transitioned from trauma to triumph. So, if you know someone who fits the description of real life trauma and they live to tell their story and you feel like this platform would be great for them, can you please send them to me? Send them to Trauma to Triumph. You can sign up on the website, www.trauma2triumph.com. You can also send me a DM. You can send me an email. The email address is info@trauma2triumph.com. And what else? I need to make sure I didn't forget anything to tell y'all before I bring in tonight's guest. You all, we skipped last Tuesday. I forgot what happened, but life be lifing, y'all. So if you don't see me on a Tuesday, you should check on me. Okay? Be like, Terry, what's going on? Check on your girl. All right. Donations are greatly appreciated. We've got to keep this project moving. I have been really, really praying about this because I want to really get some more great stories on film. But I've got to get a film team because the film team I had is no more. And so that's a long story, but so we got to work on that, and we've got to work on some more branding and marketing. We've got to get Trauma to Triumph at some of these conferences just so people can know more about it. We're a team, y'all. If y'all want Oprah to call me one day, we got to work as a team. Okay? All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to bring in tonight's guest. Let me find you, Lboogie. Where are you? Let me find her and bring her in. Okay. How do I invite? Okay, wait a minute. I know how to do this because I've done it before. No, not that. Okay, do this. No. Y'all, wait. Okay. I'll say now, Terry, you do this every day, one week. You don't remember how to get somebody on this live? I just did it. I'm going to see. I think I did it right. Wait a minute.
Let me just figure my life out.
Okay. I think I did it right. Yes, I did. Hello.
Hey, beautiful.
Wait,
How are you?
Let me turn my volume up. I'm doing amazing. How are you?
Can't complain. Can't complain at all. I'm above ground, moving around. Life is good.
Life is great, right? You look amazing. You look pretty. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight's episode of Trauma to Triumph. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, love. Thank you. I'm celebrating a special day today. It's my birthday, so
Have I been so under a rock and so daggone busy that I didn't know today was your birthday?
hey, that's why I agreed on the 8th. I said, yes, let's do the 8th.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Yay! It's Leo season, y'all. I'm not a Leo, I'm a Cancer, but I love so many of my Leo family members, friends, sister girlfriends. So yes, happy birthday to you, beautiful.
Thank you, love. I appreciate it. At first, I just want to say thank you to you for the opportunity to be on this. And I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing with Spotlight Over the City. I love this. And this is so needed because we really do need to talk about our trauma,
Yes.
bringing it, coming through, making it through, and being triumphant through it. So
every week, every time I do one of these Instagram lives, and I mean every time, there's usually more than one person, but there's always at least one person who will either DM me. If they have my number, they'll text me. They'll try to find a way to reach me because something that was said changed their lives. And when I hear that, it lets me know that no matter how much I struggle with trying to piece this whole project together, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going, because like I said, every time I get at least one person who says to me, oh my gosh, I never knew I needed to hear that. I never knew that just hearing someone else share their story about the same thing I went through helped me come to the realization that I need to tell my story. You know what I mean? So every time I get something like that, it's confirmation. Keep going.
It is, because a lot of times, I mean, as we grew up, I'm sure it's what stays in this house. What happens in this house stays in this house.
Yep.
And we don't talk about it, and we don't heal.
Rules, right?
Yes, we don't talk about it. We don't heal, so we suppress it. The more we suppress it, and then we wonder why we're doing the same cycle over and over and over again. Let me tell you, healed is the new sexy.
Say that again. Healed,
yes.
For those in the back, healed is the new sexy. Well, before we get going, and because what I would like, this is how it always usually, the way this goes is, I will informally introduce you like I did already, but then I'll turn it over to you. You introduce who you are and tell them a little bit about who you are today. But then you go back. You take it all the way back to as far as you want to go, to the point at which you feel like life trauma almost took you out. So we will put the ball in your court, and we will have you just tell a story with me. And we'll go through that journey, and we'll talk about how you came through and how you're now this amazing, beautiful woman. You made it through, because look at you, you're here today. So that's how this will work. I just like to open up in a quick prayer, and then we'll get going. Is that cool?
Absolutely. I love it.
All right. Father God, in the name of Jesus, I ask that you bless this platform tonight, Lord. I ask that you allow Lboogie and I to go through her life's journey. And I pray that what she has to say, what we share with each other, will touch at least one person. It'll make a difference in at least one person's life, dear God. I thank you for this platform. I thank you for the things that I can't even see that are coming for Trauma to Triumph. These and all other blessings I ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. It always feels good to start off in prayer.
Yes. So y'all, meet my friend Lboogie. Hey.
Hello, I'm Lboogie. I'm a mother of two. I'm a retired mother of two. Worked 31 years in Prince George's County Public Schools, serving the babies, and been in media for over 10 years. So that's why I gravitate to you so much, because we you know, women in media doing it, right? And I have just, you know, I have gone through several things in my life that have been traumatic. But being as though most people are really talking about counseling and talking to someone right now, I never knew that it was really trauma. It was just something that happened. I get over it and I move on. But the more I go on with life, as we go in different seasons in our lives, right? Things change, and we wonder why the same relationships and the same things keep happening over and over again, and we're not getting great results from it.
Right.
So my trauma started probably back it started years ago, actually, because I
Okay.
was 14 years old. I attempted to commit suicide.
Mm.
Right?
14
So
now, Boogie?
14. 14. Now, what was going on at 14 that made me think that? Good
That's what I'm
question.
wondering.
So my father passed away when I was 9. So I was raised with my mom, single mom. She never, to this day, she never remarried again. So it was, you know, looking at her kind of struggling with some things, and, you know, me as a teenager going through different things, being bullied, being talked about, not really having anyone to talk to, not really having an accountability partner, nobody to really encourage me with certain things. I'm just learning as I go, right? Because my mother is a single mom. She's working several jobs and she's going to school. She's raising my brother and I and my nephew. So it was just a lot going on. And so those are two different places where, as a 14-year-old, you can't imagine what my mother was going through at that time. Losing her husband at the age of 37, who passed away from throat cancer, and then raising 3 kids, you know, and she's like in her 30s. So this was new to her. This was new for me to watch.
Right.
And I just I couldn't process it. So, you know, that continued to move on, and I just suppressed that. So as things happened to me, I just kept pressing it down, pressing it down, pressing it down, to the point where I never really thought about it again. I just moved on. I got over it. I'm okay. I'm still living. I tried to attempt, but it didn't work. So I'm doing something right, right?
Oh, yeah.
So so, you know, that's one of the traumas that I went through at 14. And
Wow.
so I can only imagine what teenagers are going through today with everything that they're going through right now. So, you know, relationships were shaky. I never really had really a good, steady relationship. And then I ended up getting married later on in life, after my partying days was over, after I did all that. Got married, right, at age 30, and had 2 beautiful children. At 36, decided to go ahead and really, really be serious and get married. Was married for about 15 years. And then at the age of 50, got struck with cancer. You have cancer. Now, prior to that, I was I was having a really tough time at work. I had a supervisor that was just giving me a hard way to go, and I felt like everything I'm trying, nothing is working. Even with my marriage, everything I'm trying, nothing is working. And so then those are the times you need to internalize things, right? You really need to think. You want to blame everybody else, but you want to say, hold up, I'm thinking everybody else is crazy. Maybe let me turn around and look at myself. So God just got to the point where I've been trying to tell you some things for several years now. Several years. You've been passing things on, thinking that I was going to forget all this trauma you were going through, thinking I was going to forget the little things you were doing that you didn't think I saw you were doing, and put me completely out. Because, you know, as mothers, we push ourselves. As women, we push ourselves, we push ourselves, we push ourselves until we can't be
We
pushed
do.
anymore. And
We
God
do.
says, I'm gonna sit you down, because you won't sit down by yourself. So I'm gonna sit you down.
Sit you down.
And when He does, revelations were coming to me like I was going through counseling. So I did end up going to find a Christian counselor because
Mm-hmm.
I knew my faith was going to be the only thing that was going to get me through this. I could not lean on my own understanding. I had to really trust God and trust the process.
Now, this is when you got the cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
Were you still married?
Yes. At the time I
Okay,
was. Mm-hmm.
still
And
married, and your children are about how old when this happened?
20 and 13.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So you can go. I just wanted to make sure, because those are the questions that I think, people have along the way that's watching. So I just try to make sure I keep up and make sure we know, okay, kids were about how old, you were still married, and you got this horrible diagnosis. Now, prior to this diagnosis, you had been relatively healthy, your adult life and all of that kind of stuff, right?
I've been relatively healthy, but I did struggle with thyroid disease, which is Graves' disease. So I was on and off medication for that. And then, that messes up the woman's hormones, right? So
Yeah,
you
my
do, you
mom
just,
suffered from that as well. Yeah.
yeah, so you just get to the point where if too much stress comes on you, you can't think straight. You just can't. Your mind is foggy. You just don't know what is happening to your body. And I'm just thinking that it's just me.
Mm.
Getting tired. I was in media. I was doing a podcast. I'm showing up. I wasn't telling anybody no. I learned real
I know
quick
that
the
life.
power of no. The power of no came very quickly. It took me a long time though, because I was trying, because it seems like if you're not well known in media, you feel like you have to prove yourself to people and show up at events and network and
Absolutely.
network and network and just be in places you don't even want to be in,
That's
but
been my
you
life for the last 5, 6 years.
yeah, yeah. And and it's so hard to do that when you're a wife, when you're a mother, and you're struggling at the time, I was struggling with thyroid disease. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, going to the doctor on a regular basis like I'm supposed to, and it seemed like it just came from out of nowhere. And then this came in 2020.
Mm.
So not only was I going through the cancer, I was going through trying to avoid COVID.
Yeah,
This,
because that was the onset of the pandemic.
yes,
Mm.
the struggle was real, trying to maintain work, COVID, figuring out this whole new normal life, this whole new life that is happening, that nobody really had a clue about.
Wow.
We would just kind of figure it out as we go, right?
Wow.
And in the process of trying to revamp my media career, because I had to stop it for a while because the pressure was just too
Mm.
much. The stress, stress will take you out of here if you don't have your mind set in the right place and if you don't have yourself plugged into the right source.
I'm telling you, I say that all the time. Stress will take you out, girl.
It will. It
Mm.
will. So,
Take
you
you
know,
out. So you get this cancer diagnosis, and how do you feel? And that, like you said, you went and got a Christian counselor because you knew that your faith was the only thing that was going to get you through this process. Did you have feelings of like, oh my gosh, were you scared? Like what types of feelings went, that did you go through in those moments?
yeah, so when I found out that well, I knew something wasn't right. Now, I thought it was COVID at first because my symptoms were short of breath, unable to breathe, um, fatigue like there's no tomorrow, and I was losing a lot of weight. I wasn't realizing that I was losing so much weight until people were saying, "Wow, Lynn, you look amazing. What are you doing?" Nothing.
Hmm.
I'm stressing. That's what I'm doing. Stress was the new diet for me because I was wasting away to nothing and never really even realizing it, but realizing that my clothes were falling off me. So I ended up going to the doctor and several tests, several medications, and finally they came up and they said that I had a mass in my right lung, 10 centimeters, and in my left lung, about 4 centimeters. And when I hear mass, I kind of had an idea that it could be cancer, but I was really praying that it wasn't going to be, but was prepared if it was. And when I say prepared if it was, because I knew my faith was going to get me through it. because I was just like, God, I don't know what to do. I'm not even going to try and figure out. I'm not even going to try and lean on my own understanding because I don't know how. I don't know how to process this. And so with the once I found out the diagnosis, the feeling that I had was, okay, God, let's go. What we doing? Because this is something that you have for me that I did not see coming. And in order for that, and when that happens, there's a blessing that's coming out of that somewhere, somehow, if you just stay in faith and push forward and believe in God that you're going to get through it.
Yes, those are the words I love to hear. That's what makes my whole heart smile. So your diagnosis was lung cancer?
And my diagnosis was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. So it was a mass, it's in the same family as leukemia, so it's like a blood cancer.
Okay, I see.
So
Wow.
they say that the stages doesn't really make a difference, but I was at stage 4 when I found out. So when I heard you have cancer in stage 4, all I knew was death because my father died of cancer. So that was in my head.
Oh,
That
man.
was in my head. And right. And so, they did several tests and they finally came up that it was non-Hodgkin's. So she tells me, oh, we have good news and we have bad news. So what do you want to hear first? Of course you want to hear the bad news. Get it out the way, right? Bad news is it's cancer, stage 4. I was like, well, please tell me the good news. And she said, the good news is that it's curable. But the only option that you have is chemo. My mother told me the night before, she said, it sounds like it may be cancer, and you tell them that you do not want chemo. That is not happening because she seemed to believe that once my father took chemo is when he declined. And then that's when he passed. He just didn't have the strength to continue to move forward because it takes you out of here.
Yeah, I've heard.
And if you don't have the mindset to stick with it and stay in faith, it will definitely take you out.
I have heard.
Yeah. So that was devastating for me, but I knew my faith was going to get me through it because I knew my faith was going to make the difference because I've seen people who I know have cancer and they've survived 10, 20, 30 years. So I said, okay, we're not dying. We're not dying over here. We're living. We're going to move forward.
Ooh, okay, so I may have missed this. Did you decide to listen to your mom's advice? Did they encourage you to go through chemo?
That was my only option. I didn't have any other option. I didn't have to do radiation, but I did have only chemo was my option. And these days now, people take chemo with pills, but I didn't. I had to get a port put in my chest where they put the chemo in through my blood system. Because if you put it through your veins in your arm, they tend to say that your veins collapse, and so they have to stick you and stick you and stick you again. And I was like, no, not a pincushion. I'm just one hit quitter. Do that, and we'll get it done. So my chemo sessions were 4 to 5 hours a day for about 18. I had to do 18 sessions. And my first chemo treatment was the day that my father passed. The same day.
Wow.
October 7th.
Your first chemo treatment. Wow. And your dad had been sick?
He had been sick, yeah, but we didn't know. Well, I was 9, so there was very limited information that my mother was giving me about what his illness was.
Super young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty devastating. And then, my kid's mother passed away from cancer as well. So I'm not sure if my ex was prepared to see that again.
Right.
And then we just went through a moment where I felt like I was struggling to keep the marriage going.
I was going to ask you about that. You're going through chemo, was your husband very supportive with you throughout that process? Or did you feel like your illness and all the things you had to go through, was that starting to break the marriage down?
I felt like it was actually breaking before I actually got diagnosed with cancer. But the things I would do for him, because I'm an old school wife. I'm that submissive, prepare your meal, wash your clothes, do everything, you know. And at that time, I couldn't do it. And I don't think he understood the fact that I could not do that. And
But that's
so
what
if you,
when I said, was he supportive? If he couldn't understand that you couldn't still do those things and serve him that way. Mm,
no, it wasn't. Yeah, that's where the breakdown came in. And I had decided, I know, listen, I am not a fan of divorce, but I fought the fight of my life. And I knew that I needed to live for me. At the time, I was fighting for me. I was fighting, every ounce of me had to go to me to get
yeah.
through what I was going through. So, unfortunately, after 15 years of being married, you know that for better or worse, if your foundation isn't, if your marriage is not set, and God is not in the middle of your marriage, it's going to be trials and tribulations. And if you can't fight through it and get through it and do that for better or for worse, it's a terrible breakdown that will happen when either, because we go through seasons of life. We go through our 20s, we go through our 30s, we go through our 40s, 50s, so on. Each season is different. If you can't grow with me through my seasons, we're unevenly yoked. You know, there are some marriages who fight, and then some who just say, this is not what I'm looking forward to.
So were you willing to fight?
Oh, I fought
Hmm.
until I had to fight just for me.
Right.
I fought. Trust me, I fought, I fought, I fought, I fought. And we tried to do counseling. We tried to do, better communication. We tried to understand. But if you're in a marriage and one of you all get sick and you can't get through that, it's going to be hard to get through anything else.
Through anything else. Do you feel like, hindsight is 2020, do you feel like had you not become ill, you all would have stayed together?
I feel like I feel like I would have, because I had been we had just started trying to do counseling and things like that, and it was starting to get a little different, when you have a husband who's set in their ways, it takes a lot for change to come, right?
Hmm.
And but two people have to be willing to do that. So
Right.
if two people aren't willing, then you know you continue to trust God and let your heart not be hardened. But
So
um,
who got was it you who wanted the
yeah,
divorce? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, because I
Okay.
felt
So you,
like I felt like I fought. I was fighting for my life, and I
yeah.
fought for the marriage before I got sick. And if you can't fight with me and fight over, because the one thing people have to understand is when you get sick, it's hard for you to articulate that to anyone else because you're still trying to process it yourself.
Right.
So if you don't have the patience to process what is going on with your significant other, you just have to practice patience and trust God. And if you can't do that and understand that they're not that person that you married, we grow and we change.
Yes,
So if you're
we
not
do.
willing to change and grow together, then it's going to be very difficult to get through any type of trauma.
Man, you're preaching tonight. You didn't even know you was gonna be preaching tonight, did you?
I just really hope, I just really wanted people to understand that, one, there are things that you're not going through by yourself. Somebody else out there is going through the exact same thing and feeling like, either one, feeling like they don't even want to continue to push and push any longer, or two, I'm glad someone is feeling the same thing I'm feeling. Now I don't feel like I'm losing it.
Right.
There's someone out there who I can reach out to if I need to, because I'm going through the same thing. and you can pray with them and talk to them. And the best thing you can do is communicate with somebody else, because holding on to that is going to manifest in your spirit, and it's going to get into you, and it's going to be a dis-ease in your spirit, in your body.
Yeah, you're so right about that. So you're fighting cancer. You've gone through a divorce. And so bring us through, how your life looked through in this transition period of being now a divorced woman. How long did it take for this chemo to work, and catch us up with how that process went, so we can, understand where you are today and how you got there.
Yeah, so the chemo sessions, they were very hard and very difficult to get through, because it just drains you. It takes a lot of your energy. And then, you have to understand you're not the same person that you was before. If you could get through this, you have a renewed spirit, you have a renewed mindset, you have renewed vocabulary, you have renewed language. You just have a whole different look on life. Like, life is amazing. Life is grand. So when you want to get into those moments where you want to feel sorry for yourself or have pity on yourself, don't. Think of the good things that are happening.
Yeah.
You're still here. You're getting through it. Like, when I was going through chemo, I didn't have anyone to come in with me because it was COVID. So I'm by myself, trying to push myself through these sessions each and
Right.
every time. And this is really difficult, and you feel alone, and you feel like nobody can understand what you're saying, and you feel like you can't articulate it to anybody else because they're not going through it. So it's really hard if someone else, so that's like telling someone who is a smoker, stop smoking. I never picked up a cigarette a day in my life, but you better stop smoking. No, I don't need to hear that. I need to hear, these are the withdrawals I'm going to go through when I quit smoking.
That's right.
These days, you're going to feel like this. These days, you're going to feel like you don't want to get out of bed. These days, you're going to sit in a fetal position, and you're going to want to just give up. But you have to think about the things that are still here. So that, for me, that was, my kids are still here. My kids are feeding me. They're taking care of me. My kids are looking up to me saying, no, mommy, you're not going to die. You're going to live. When everybody else is telling me that it's almost over and you're not going to be here anymore, I'm still going to believe that you're going to get through it. And I'm going to be here with you to watch other people look at you and say, wow, you are still here. So I am just in a place right now where I just look at everything different. I look at the positive things in life. It's moments that I struggle, because I sit there and I think about where I was, not almost, like, not really making it. Like, I didn't think I was going to make it, but with prayer and keeping the word in my heart and keeping it in my mouth and keeping, when my cup is empty, I know who to call to fill my cup back up. Those are the things that you need to get through in life to fill you back up. You got to get rid of those people, those naysayers, those people who say that, no, you're not going to make it. No, this is wrong. That's wrong. You got to get people who are going to be around you, who will celebrate you, clap for you, pat you on your back, call you and say, girl, you're going to make it and you're going to do it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So right now, I'm enjoying life. I'm loving life. I'm loving all my kids. I'm loving the new me. Being single at 50 something is new, but I am really falling in love with me, because I hadn't for so long, because I've always been the type of person who elevates everybody else, but don't take time to elevate myself.
So,
I'm such a cheerleader for everybody else, and now I'm just taking the time to be my own cheerleader and to cheer me on, and just manifest great things on my life and speak life into life. So I'm celebrate everyone else, and I'm celebrating myself too.
I
A
love
lot of times as women, we just don't pat ourselves on the back for getting through the things
do
that
it
we've
enough.
gotten
We
through.
don't do it enough. Let me ask you really quickly, what type of advice would you have for an 13, 14-year-old who is contemplating suicide? Because that's happening a lot, and you went through that. And what would your what would your talk with that teenager be today?
My talk with that teenager is journal. Talk about the things that they see. Talk to someone. Journal. Um, Tell yourself affirmations. When I was sick, I would put Bible verses all around the house with Post-it notes. As you see my little positive things in the background, I keep them around me. I have an affirmation on my mirror that I wrote with soap that says, God is my everything and I don't have to worry about nothing. Just keep affirmations around you. I am amazing. I am great. I will get through this. I am awesome. I am the gift of God. I am God's favorite. I am the best. I am blessed by the best. Like, so put those things around you so you see them every single day to help remind yourself that that's who you are and what you are. When you go to school, put those things in your journal, in your notebook, on your book bag. They're conversational pieces. So somebody will say, well, why do you write that? This is why. So it's just a triple domino effect that will strike up conversation of positive things instead of just always going to social media, see how many likes you get, see how many subscribers you have. Really get to know you as an individual and don't try to be like anybody else.
I love that. I love that. And so what about, what advice would you have for a grown-up who gets that dreadful diagnosis of cancer?
I would the same thing, stay in the word, get into that book of life, honey, get into that Bible, get into your word, surround yourself around people who believe that God is just the best of the best. Communicate, get yourself a counselor, talk to someone. A lot of times you're going to want to sit in the dark. You don't want to talk to anybody. You want to sleep your life away. But make sure you have an accountability partner who will call you every day, who will text you, who will write you a letter. I know people don't do that no more, but do it anyway. I would do that. Like, I would write thank you letters and send them out to people because the support that I had during that time, it was so much. And I was so grateful and I was so thankful for everybody who prayed for me and everybody who just motivated me and called me and checked on me. So get yourself an accountability partner. You're not going to want to talk to them every day. They're not going to want to talk every day. But just make sure someone is checking in with you every single day.
Right. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, Lboogie, what's next for you? You've survived divorce. You've survived teenage attempted suicide. You survived losing your dad. You survived a lot of stuff. So what's next for you?
I have a book coming out. I'm working on two books. One is a prayer journal, and the other one is the one about my life. The short version I just gave you tonight. And I also am stepping into the field of producing. So I have a movie that I'm working with another friend of mine. We have a movie coming out. The movie premiere is going to be this September at Whewwww Performing Arts. It's called Untold Secrets, The Flip Side. It's about mental health and cancer awareness. So that's I'm doing. That I'm, producers. I love media. I love networking. I love radio. I love TV. So those are going
And
to be
me
the
too.
things that I'm with.
So I'm sure there'll be things where we can work on together.
Yes.
So let's,
I would love for you all to come out in September if you can. I'll give you more information about it.
give me more information about that. September is crazy. Hopefully it's not the weekend of September 23rd because we're double booked that weekend, but you just give me the information and let me know. Have you ever been to a live show with Spotlight Over City, Lboogie?
I have.
You sure have. You've been in the back too, haven't you?
I sure have.
Working.
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, when you're free on any Thursdays, when we go back in September, pull up on us there and let me know in other ways how you can, how I may be able to help your journey or, some of the things that you're doing. And I'll do the same. And can you let people know how they can, you know, either follow you. I know people may be interested in wanting to know more about when your book or this premiere comes out. So how can people keep up with you?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram, Miss Lboogie_1, on Facebook, Lynn Lboogie Wood, on X now,
Oh,
formerly known as
right. It's
Twitter.
not. It's that's right. It's X now.
Miss Lboogie_1. And to get tickets for the premiere in September, you can go to
Oh,
buoycenter.org.
that's right. Bowie Center of Performing Arts. That's right. Okay. Well, Lboogie, I just want to say again to you, I'm very grateful for your yes. Thank you for saying yes to being a part of this platform. We're going to do some amazing things collectively with this Trauma to Triumph. I haven't figured it all out yet, but I know God
Yeah.
knows, and He's guiding me along the way. And like I say, I get confirmation every week. You know, keep going. So we're going to keep this thing going. We're going to get more filming done. We've got some amazing stories already filmed. I have a YouTube channel. You all can go check that out. All of my prior Trauma to Triumph lives are on my YouTube channel, and that's Trauma the number 2 Triumph DOC on YouTube. I also have a website. Please go check it out. Sign up to tell your story. www.trauma the number 2 triumphdoc.com. If you know someone and you want to refer them to this platform, please send me an email. The email address is info@trauma the number 2 triumph.doc.com. And of course, we're always accepting donations because that's the only way I'm going to be able to get more filming done, more branding done, more conferences, and just more stuff. So no donation is too small. I'm approved as of May 1st as a nonprofit, so your donations are tax deductible. I can always provide the information for my nonprofit. So just wanted to get all that information out there to you all. I'm very grateful for my tribe. It's growing, and I'm just, you know, very, very grateful. So I thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of my Trauma to Triumph Live on Tuesdays. We'll be back again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. with another amazing real life story of Trauma to Triumph. Thank you,
Thank you so much, Terry. I appreciate you. Can I just plug one more thing?
Yes, you can.
I'm also with 4 other young ladies. We do a podcast called Black Women Connecting Communities. It's hashtag BWCC. So if you want to check out our podcast, just go to blkwomencc.com.
I love it. Okay. Thank you for
We
plugging.
hope to have you as a guest too.
Please do. As long as it's not on a Thursday, you got me.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
I
y'all
appreciate
again. Thank you, Lboogie, and you are so amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. And Lboogie, I'm going to keep this live on my Instagram, but what I also will do is edit it so that it's just what we, you know, the stuff I was talking about in the beginning will be gone, and I'm going to put it on YouTube, and then I'll share with you that link as well.
I appreciate you. Thank you,
All
Queen.
right, y'all. Good night, y'all.
Good night.